Hello Dungeon Masters. Make sure to check out the previous couple of videos if you've missed them, as this video directly follows the last two. We pick up this week in the depths of the Pyramid Dungeon. After successfully navigating the first floor, the bold players continue down into the chest of the pyramid. A strange choice of words, you may think. Well, this floor doesn't need as much of a description as the previous floors and outside, as it is much the same as before. As they near this floor, there is the sound of drums beating somewhere in the distance. Here is the description I would use to set the mood as they enter this floor of the dungeon. The sound of drums begins as a faint whisper, barely discernible against the backdrop of silence that envelops the pyramid's ancient chambers. Slowly, steadily it grows in intensity, the rhythm echoing through the labyrinthine corridors like the heartbeat of the structure itself. Each beat resonates with a primal force, a cadence that seems to emanate from the very heart of the earth. As the drum beats reverberate off the stone walls, their deep, pulsating rhythm takes on a life of its own, filling the pyramid with a sound that is both ominous and mesmerizing. The air vibrates with the force of percussion, a tangible presence that can be felt in the chest and in the bones. In the canals and waterways that snake through the pyramid's depths, the effect of the drumming is profound. The surface of the water, previously calm and still, begins to tremble and ripple in response to the sonic vibrations. Each drumbeat sends a series of concentric circles dancing across the water, disturbing its serenity with a heartbeat-like rhythm that is both beautiful and unsettling. The sound seems to penetrate every corner of the pyramid, as if the drums are calling out to the spirits of the past, inviting them to join in a timeless dance that bridges the gap between the living and the dead. So now they are aware that there is a regular beat to the dungeon. You can pull off the old Crypt of the Necrodancer on your players, and get some of the traps to fire if they do something off the beat. The first corridor is my example of that. I have mounted several hopping columns along the waterway. Each jump needs to be made on the heartbeat, otherwise the pillar will trigger its trap. The first time someone fails, the heads will spray oil in a 45-degree angle in front of them. The second time they fail, a gout of fire will be fired in the same 45-degree angle. Importantly, the water will have oil all over it at the point of the second trigger, so now the corridor is blazing with fire that sits atop the water. This should let them know that this floor isn't for the weak. Falling into the water will be extremely dangerous, and the corridor will heat up reasonably fast too. I also left candles burning on the arrow-shaped jumping columns, for if you want them to only spray oil and the players to set the fire by accident by knocking a candle into the water. I always like to have a low-level player version of events. Once they clear this corridor, they can remove most of the oil in the next room, but they should probably take extra fire damage throughout this floor as a lesson in flammability. The next room holds the statue of a sphinx, and inscribed into the floor is the following riddle. In a chamber of secrets where silence is gold, stands a guardian of truths, ancient and bold. It captures your essence, but holds not your soul, reflecting the world, yet never whole. It speaks without words, a mimic of forms, a prisoner of echoes in calm and in storm. To pass beyond gates where shadows conspire, you must shatter the silence or ignite the fire. What am I that you must break? Now, there are only two items in the room, a mirror and a statue. If they strike or try to destroy the statue, the walls will erupt into a storm of fire, igniting those in the room. If they break the mirror, They will sever the magical spell connecting the wall of force, and it will dissipate, allowing them to enter the next corridor section. Breaking a mirror could lead to some bad luck, of course. Depending on how much you want them to suffer, you can always add your own riddle and solution. As before, there are several sneaky traps in the next corridor. The objects within arm's reach are made of gold and contain several gems worth a lot. If the wrong ones are pilfered, then it will trigger a trap like the last corridor by spraying fine mists of oil into the air, and the second time, fire. Personally, I would choose 3 trap triggers per section. I will let you decide which. The safest choice for the players is not to take any of the loot, of course. Once into the next room, there stands 3 statues, each with a book on a lectern in front of them. To solve the riddle, the books must be placed on the correct lectern. After gathering the books and deciphering the riddles, the players will choose where to put each book. A mistake will lead to the prisoners being released. I will let you decide what is released, but in my game they would likely be undead warriors of reasonable strength. The first riddle is as follows. Under the moon's chill breath, a mythic harbinger of luck or death, with colour as black as starless sky, face twitching, a gleam in its eye. Throughout history's mist these omens tread, cross cultures vast a sense of dread. Yet know this creature with quiet grace, prowls not for souls, but its own space. In ancient eyes a world unseen, a mystic's guide through the realms between. By many a heart both loved and feared, in shadows lurking or sun endeared. What being am I, of midnight's hue, a feared harbinger, yet a friend too? The answer to this riddle is cat, and the book should be placed there. The next riddle reads, a council gathers in the aftermath's hush, wearing black, a twilight's crush, with beady eyes on meadows vast, over lands where mortals breathed their last. Their calls an echo of tales untold, of valour, fear, and heroes bold. Airy watchers of the battle's plight, custodians of the day's last light. In their gathering a tale spun grim, of victory's cost on a whim. What am I, of war's dark shade, a symbol both of death and life remade? The answer to this riddle is crow, and the book should be placed there. The final riddle reads, in the shadows dance where whispers grow, lies a spectre veiled in woe. With cloak of night and scythe in hand, it traverses realms both sea and land. A keeper of secrets, a harbinger's breath, where mortal souls meet their death. In the silent halls of time's embrace, it moves unseen, leaving little trace. A force of nature, both feared and wise, in its grasp every mortal lies. Though whispered of in hushed tones low, in every heartbeat its presence shows. What am I, that whispers in the night, a journey's end, the final plight? The answer to this riddle is death, and the book should be placed there. Once all 3 books are in their rightful place, the magic will fade and the wall of force holding the players back will also diminish. The final corridor leads to a large room filled with a few things of note. 2 harps and a lectern with a water bowl in front of it. The lectern shows which note needs to be played on the harps to shatter the glass and free the water, ending the spell holding the wall of force up around the sarcophagi. I would have this battle begin the moment the harps are approached and played. The room has 4 entrances from below. those deep-looking pits. I would make this encounter about strumming the right note and keeping the note playing for, say, 10 rounds. Now you could say the note will play for 2 rounds after the string is plucked, giving them time to fight whilst maintaining the sound. You could be more or less restrictive depending on how you want the fight to feel. I would have a number of monsters spawn per turn between all entrances. Say 1d4 monsters per 2 turns, meaning 5 waves of monsters for this fight. Once the players begin to play the music, the sarcophagi will open and its contents in my game is a mummy that was a general in life. It will start to stand and arm itself, preparing for the battle to come. When the barrier drops and there is only the final boss left to fight, this would be a classic opportunity for some layer actions and some legendary resistances. I think the double-ended glaive feels like the right weapon for this combat. I would have the general cast haste on itself before the barrier comes down, as well as maybe give it the ability to summon extra troops from below as layer actions. Now once all the threats are dealt with, the heartbeat drumming should stop, and leave the beaten and bruised yet victorious player party with their loot to collect. I also added in some lily pads and flowers. In my game, they are a rare herb used to make a cure disease potion. This may help with anything they have caught whilst delving this dungeon. I have purposely left a section to the right for you to make the final level of this dungeon. A few more pressure plates to avoid and a set of stairs down to the Pharaoh's floor. If you want me to make the final floor, then by now you know the drill. Drop me a comment telling me what you want to see on the final floor. Did you like the riddles and the variety of traps I used in this map, as well as the previous ones? Be sure to drop a comment telling me what you like to see in maps so I can keep that in mind for the future. As always, please help us make more videos for you. It's free and easy. Hit that like button and sub if you want more. Leave a comment below to tell me what you would like to see next. And as always, may the dice ever be in your favour.